with My Make Studio, and spooky season is upon us, everyone. So we are going to be making a Halloween unicorn today. Yes! So if the sticker on your My Make Studio box right here does not say Halloween Unicorn Cake Kit, no worries, you're probably looking for another video, so go ahead and stop this one and head back to our YouTube channel and click on the video that is titled the same as whatever sticker is on your My Make Studio box. If it does say Halloween Unicorn Cake Kit, welcome, it's gonna be a super awesome spooky time. And magical, because unicorns. But there are a couple things we've got to go over before we actually start decorating our cakes. So, number one is you have a box of cake mix inside your box, and there are instructions on how to make your cake mix on the back of the cake mix box. So go ahead and make your cake mix, and if you're like, I don't know if I have pans, not to worry, because inside your box are 2 pans. So just grease these up however you like. It can be pan, it can be butter, it can be cake grease, whatever your speed is, you're the one who's eating it, just make sure they're greased so your cakes come out. Make your batter and then bake them following the instructions on the box. And then for this one, I do recommend that it be at least chilled or frozen, because we are going to want to get the face of our unicorn nice and smooth, and the colder our cakes are, the easier they are to decorate, especially if you're new to decorating. So I do recommend that they've at least been in the fridge for a little bit, or you've put them in the freezer for a little bit and they're pretty cold. And then other than that, you just need a pair of handy dandy scissors and then some kind of towel, like a paper towel, a hand towel, a kitchen towel, just something to wipe our dirty fingers on and keep our open icing bags on to help keep our space a little bit more clean as we go. And then lastly, you'll need everything inside your box, and then go ahead and wash your hands super duper good and we'll start decorating. So I'm going to get set up, and then we're going to go over how to make a Halloween unicorn. Shayla here. I know I just told you all the things you need, but I forgot one thing. You'll need a butter knife or a metal cake spatula for leveling our cakes, which is going to be the first part. Sorry about that. I'm going to get back to setting up. See you soon. And we're back. So inside your box, you had a cake board. This is to put our cake on top of while we decorate. If you have more of a pretty decorative plate, or a spooky decorative plate that you would rather put your cake on top of, no worries at all. You are more than welcome to do that. But in case you don't have anything like that, we have a handy dandy cake board right here. So I'm going to take one of my chilled cakes and set it on top. Now this is where that butter knife or metal cake spatula comes in handy. We're going to level our cakes. So when I say level, you see what's rounded right here? We're just going to cut that off and make it nice and flat. Now, if your cake is not as rounded as mine, or it is more rounded than mine, you didn't do anything wrong. It just depends on where you are in the country. We ship all over the place and whatnot. So depending on the temperature or the altitude or lack of altitude or the humidity of wherever you are, it could affect your baking to where it might not look exactly like mine. There's nothing wrong with it, just different things affect how cakes bake, and everybody's ovens are different too. No one's oven is the same. But I got this. And then I like to save my cake pan, because I like to put the tops that I cut off into the pan and save them for something else. For instance, you could save them to make some cake pops later, or you can add them to some pudding, or you could crumble them up and put them on ice cream. Or it's just a snack while you decorate. Just that way we use all of our cake. At least I like to, so I'm just going to put them in my cake pan for later. But I'm going to take my metal spatula, and I'm going to hook it into my cake, not like this, like this. Just where I can see it's gone in, and then I'm just going to saw it off. Now sometimes I turn my cake while I do this. It's not really a wrong way, just don't like that. We're just trying to go straight across. If you are using a knife, make sure you aren't going and cutting your hand open. But I'm going to slide it in here, and I just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I've got one little spot right here that's still a little bump. Yes. Now I'm going to take one of my white icings, take off the lid, remove the seal, and I'm going to squeeze all of this into this spot of my cake, or onto this spot of my cake. It doesn't matter how you do this. I like to make rings, but if you'd rather do polka dots or ziggy zaggies or swirly doos,
totally up to you because we are going to smooth it out a little bit either way, but I'm going to put all of this on my cake. So I like to start with circles on the outside. That's just what works for my brain to do. And then as I start to use my icing, I'm going to treat this like toothpaste and whoosh it and then fold it. That way I keep a nice pressure going so it's easier to come out. She says as there's an air bubble. There we go. Ta-da! So now I'm going to take my spatula, or actually, you know what? Inside our box was this spatula, which we have a bunch of different colors floating around. What color did you guys get? I'm super excited. I got green today. But I'm going to just treat my icing like it's a nervous cat. Like, I've been trying to get its attention all day. It's finally jumped in my lap, and I just like have to pet it, but I don't want to freak it out. I'm going to very lightly just pet my icing in the directions I want it to go. No one's going to see this part. We're just trying to make sure that we cover all of this with an icing surface, so that way, when people get a slice of cake, they have this center icing in every bite. So I'm just going to lightly pet my icing. I'm just covering up all of that cake. If you get some crumbs, it's okay. This is just the filling part, so we don't really have to worry about it being super smooth or non-crumbly or any of that jazz. Sweet. Then I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off on my towel so it's ready for when I want to use it again, because we will need to use it for smoothing out our unicorn's face. And then I'm going to come to my other cake. So same thing, I'm going to level this part. And then the part that we cut is going to go face first in the icing. So I'm just going to plop it on there. Now sometimes you might need to play Tetris a bit and move your cake around until it locks in place just right, but I'm pretty happy with this. And there we go. Step one is done. Alright, so now I need everyone, look at your cake and figure out what side feels like the front of your cake to you. Whatever side feels like the front. I like to use the white icing. You can use the purple, black, or orange instead if you'd like. Just know that you won't have as much of it for the hair of your unicorn if you use that color. I want the purple, black, and orange. I was like, colors are hard sometimes. It's like, wait, all the colors. But I want those three colors to be more of my unicorn's fabulous Halloween mane. So I'm not going to be using one of them for the face, and I'm just going to use the white icing. And then same thing as last time, take the lid off, remove the seal, and whatever spot is the front of your cake, we're going to make a rectangle, and we're going to fill it in. So let me look. I actually think right here is a, ooh. You know what, I actually think this part is the front of my cake. So I like to go from the bottom and up, but you can go down, or you can go from the top to the bottom, doesn't really matter. But I think this part is the easiest if you make lines and your lines are touching and close together. Ta-da. Perfect. And I think that's all the white icing I'm going to need. I used like maybe a little over half of it. I think I will put one more little line here and here where I've got some gaps, and then save the rest of it for hair. So now we're going to smooth this part out. So I like to use the edge of the spatula to do that. And I usually move my icing around a little bit, kind of like that nervous cat thing going on, to where I can't see that there are separate lines. And then you can just scrape your icing. You can scrape up this way or you can scrape sideways. It does not need to be super duper smooth. We're just trying to smooth it out a little bit because this is where we're gonna put our face. But if you have a little spot, we can always add some cute cheeks or some more hair that's like coming onto the face, or that's where you put your eyes are. There's lots of ways to work around it. And you might need to swoop it more than one time. Awesome. So we're going for like right here. So this is a little easier if I turn this towards me. So I'm gonna look at my cake, but I'm just gonna move my icing around a little bit, and then using that edge, I like to swoop. If it is more comfortable for you to use the flat end of the spatula, go for it. Everybody's brains work differently. It's whatever feels right for you. Or if you do have a metal spatula at home and you're more comfortable using that, you can totally use that as well. But I'll be back in a second. Ta-da! So I know it's not even, but that's okay because I'm gonna put hair right here and here. So I'm just gonna cover up this wonky side that's going on. So I'm gonna set my cake aside, and then I'm actually gonna show you what all the different tips that came with the kit do, and then kind of show you I'm gonna show you what they all do, and then you can decide what you wanna use for your unicorn hair. I usually only use the open star for my unicorn's hair, but just because that's what I do doesn't mean that's what you need to do. So I'm gonna show you what they all look like and how you could use them for different hair. You could even use all of them on there if you wanted, like, go for it. But I'm gonna grab an extra board. I've got one right here. And then I'm gonna go to the little bag of fun. So I have an extra icing with me to practice and show you. I would not recommend you like doing as much of the designs as I do. If you want to try out like one or two of each of the tips, you should have enough icing to do that. But I don't want you to grab one of your icings, use all of it for practicing, and then not have it. So I have an extra icing that I am using for this part. So I want to show you all your options. All right, we're gonna pull out this. So this has all of our tips in it, and there's also a little booklet inside your box that has a little thing on what each one is called and a little picture of what they do, but I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth than that, but if you'd like to have that open and looking at it, you totally can. All right. So the one I'm going to start with is the one I like to use, which is the open star. And how we took the lid off, there's this little circle. We're gonna pop that out, put our tip on, and then put the little ring on over it. Now it doesn't need to be on there so tight you can't take it off, but it needs to be on there tight enough for you to do this. It doesn't go flying across the room. Now sometimes the icing tips like to play tag and they're like, no, you can't catch me. If they're doing that to you, you just need to move them around a little bit and apply a little bit of pressure, or you can try another ring from one of your icings. Sometimes they want to be difficult, so if that's going on, try one of those, but they will go on there. You just might have to like jingle them around. So with the open star, with all of our tips, we don't really want to push it right on our cake and squeeze because it doesn't really work. So we want to hold it a little apart, like a little ways, like you're really trying to irritate somebody, like, I'm not touching you, but you're like almost touching them. So we're going to be doing to our cake. So I'm going to squeeze in the same spot. 1, 2, 3, stop and pull back for a little poof. Or you can add a slight wrist twist into that. It's not like a hooah, but to get some little whipped creamy vibes. And then I like to use this one for rosettes. So usually on unicorn cakes, they have this big, fabulous, beautiful bang. So I use this tip for that. You make a blob, come to the side and draw a circle around your blob. If you draw a circle on top of your blob, it will just make a much taller whipped creamy swirl. So blob, come to the side and draw a circle. And then stop squeezing and just pull. So these are some ways you could do hair with this. You could also just do lines if you wanted. There is another one that is called the jab. I like the jab, but I don't recommend you use the jab for this cake just because it requires so much icing. But I will show you what it looks like. You hold your icing sideways. It's like you're poking somebody while you squeeze. Poke, 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 poke. So this is some ways you could use the star tip. Now we are going to talk about my favorite tip. I don't use this one on the unicorn cake, but you totally can because this is the grass tip and it makes awesome grass and monster hair and spaghetti, and it's just the best tip ever in my opinion. It's the one that looks like a little thimble. And it's another, all of our tips today, we're gonna hold it a little above our cake or a little next to it. So with this one, a lot of people have the tendency to make their shape dip down and lift back up. If you do that, because there's so many little holes and it's so intricate, it messes up the designs. So the main thing is think stop squeezing and lift straight up. Try really hard not to dip down. But I'm gonna hold it in the same spot. 1, 2, 3, stop and lift up. For some cute little tufts of hair, or you can keep squeezing while you lift to get some floppy hair, or you could go spaghetti style with it and just squeeze it out all over the place. The next one is the leaf tip, which if you wanted to use one of these colors of icing to be a flower instead of hair, you totally could. I would recommend using the next tip. We're gonna go over this little round one as the center. But this is the leaf tip. It looks like an alligator mouth or a V, depending on how you're looking at it. And to use it, I do want to hold it like it's an alligator mouth. Like it's going to throw up icing all over my cake. So same spot, and then I'm going to stop and pull back. So 1, 2, 3, stop and pull back. Get a nice fine point. If you want that to be a flower, just do that in a circle. And then you could take that little round tip with another color and make a center if you want to add any flowers to your unicorn's hair. If you don't stop squeezing when you pull, it will just get a much longer floppy leaf vibe. And if you want some canopy vibes, which this does look cool as hair, it's just adding in that poke. So poke, 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 and then stop and pull. But you could use this is hair as well, or you could have like random tufts of it sticking out. And then I do not recommend using the round tip for your unicorn's hair, but I like to use it for the eyes. And since I'm showing you the tips, I feel like I should show you what it does. And then I will come back when we get to the eye portion of this to show you different eyes you could make. But I wouldn't recommend using this one for the hair, especially since it is so small. Putting all these tiny little polka dots on your cake is going to be hard on your hands, but you could use this to go back and add polka dots to your hair if you want. Alrighty. So then there is no right or wrong way to put your hair on. The only thing is don't cover up your face. Which if you do cover up your face, then your unicorn's just extra hairy and awesome. But I like to put that rosette right here. So I actually don't start at the top of my cake. I start right here. I'm going to put a little indentation. Because we draw the circle around it, it'll go around this and reach the top of the cake. And then I'm going to put some hair along the face just to hide where it connects to the cake. And then I'm going to leave this white for now. And then everywhere else, I'm going to put unicorn hair. I'm just going to use the star tip today, but feel free to put hair however you like on there. So I'm going to get my unicorn all nice and hairy. And then I will come back and we'll talk about horns, ears, and then we'll talk about eyes. Chayla here, checking back in. So when you're done with a color, you can go rinse out your tip, or if you want a little bit of tie-dye action going on, put it on your next color, and it'll take it a second to show up. But you will briefly get this cool tie-dye thing going on. It won't last very long, but you can get a couple of tufts in there, and if you want to keep it up, just put it on another color and just keep tie-dyeing. You don't have to do that, but it is a way that you can create different colors and whatnot in your cake. So I wanted to talk about it in case that's something you want to incorporate in your design today. I actually think I am going to put a couple more over here. Yeah. So I only get a few before it turns all orange, but that is a way you can get some tie-dye vibes going on if you'd like. All right, I'll check back in a little bit. Shayla here, checking in again. I'm so sorry. I'm just so excited to decorate cakes. Whatever color you want to use for your eyes, I would go ahead and figure that out now and save like that much of it just in case. Okay, I'll leave you alone for reals now. Have fun. You're doing great. Ta-da! Look how hairy she is. Yes. All right. So now I'm going to take my marshmallow, get my scissors and cut it open. And then I'm going to cut this marshmallow in half, but not this way. We want to turn it towards a diamond shape and cut it corner to corner. Ta-da! And when you cut it, it's hard to see with this, but it makes a little divot in it. We want that facing out. So I like to put my ears about right here, and I give them a little whoop. And then if you have any more icing, I've got a little purple here. I'm gonna put just a little bit right there, so it looks like my ears are coming out of the head and they're stuck in there a little bit well, but otherwise you can just stick them in there and they'll be fine. And then we're gonna do our horns. So you have a boba straw. With the boba straw, figure out where you like your horn. You put it in the center, put it to the side. You cut it in half and do 2 horns if you wanted. Actually, you totally could do that. You could, that's a great idea. You could do that. You could cut your boba straw in half. There's enough fondant that you could make 2 horns if you wanted to do that. I'm gonna make 1 horn. The option is there if you want to do it. And if you do it, please send us pictures because I want to see. But move your straw around and figure out where you like it. So a lot of people like to put it in the center of the cake. I personally don't like that. I like it more towards the front of my cake. So let me turn this sideways. So instead of the middle, I go almost like in between my ears is where I like it. And then I'm just gonna, and then I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut it to about here. This is just a little extra support for our horn. So yeah, you could totally cut it in half and do 2 horns if you wanted. But I'm gonna move my cake, and now we have the green fondant. And I'm gonna cut it open, and if you've never played with fondant before, it's basically like Play-Doh you can eat. And then I'm going to mush it up and roll it into a ball. Yes. And then you probably won't need all of this for your horn. You can use all of it if you'd like. I usually use half or a little bit more. Just depends on how big and swirly you want your horn to be. And then I'm going to roll it into a ball. And then we're going to treat it like Play-Doh and make a tube snake. It's up to you how long you want to make it. The thinner you make it though, the more likely it is going to like want to rip as we do this next part. So I wouldn't make it too thin. I usually go about the thickness I have right now. And I'm going to get my cake. And I'm going to take one end and hook it around the straw. And then I'm just going to wrap the rest of it around my straw until I run out, and then just give it a little boop. Yes. And I'm going to smush it in a little bit. This is awesome. And then the final part is adding eyeballs to our unicorn. So I'm going to grab my little practice sheet again. Grab a new one. When I do these unicorn eyes, I like to do the ones that are like this, like they're happy closed eyes. So I just make little rainbow arcs and then add little eyelashes to that. But there you have a lot of options. So I want to show you your options. So there's what I was talking. So just a rainbow arc and then little lines. You can make your unicorn look sleepy. And you could do your eyes smiley faces. And then either little arcs or little lines for eyelashes, like their eyes are closed. You could go all the way around if you wanted. Since it is a Halloween unicorn, if you want to do X's, you totally could do X's. Or if you want it to be like, hi, you can make little polka dots for your eyes. Or if you want to go that super like cartoony look, you can make a big oval, fill in your oval, and then add some lines. You could also take, like if you have any white icing left, you could rinse this tip out and then put little white dots in those eyes to make them look like super chibi eyes if you want. But I'm going to do these ones today, but here are some examples of different eyes you can do. And then I usually don't add a mouth to my unicorn, but you're more than welcome to add a mouth if you want. It is your cake. I want you to be happy with it. So I'm going to draw my eyes. If you are nervous about keeping them the same level, I recommend that you grab a toothpick and lightly trace into your icing where you want the eyes to be. And then you can use that as like a stencil and follow along with whatever color you picked for your eyes. I'm using purple, so I'll be back in a second. And then if you would like, you can also take that star tip, put it on, and give your unicorn 2 little cheeks. I'm gonna give them purple cheeks. Ta-da! And that is it, you guys. That's how you make a Halloween unicorn. High five! Yes! I love Halloween, you guys. I love it. I love it. And I love unicorns, so this like totally works out. Thank you so much for coming today. I hope that you had a good time. And if you would like to share your Halloween unicorn creations with us, to where I get to see them, you can go to our website, which is mymakestudio.com. Click on the Chef Chayla tab, and there'll be an option to upload your photos, and you'll also become part of our Bakers Club and get a certificate from me. So if you would like to share your beautiful creations, I always love seeing them because in my mind, cakes and cupcakes are just art that you can eat, and art is unique just like you are. We're all doing a step-by-step thing, but everybody puts their own like spin and personality into their cakes. And I just think it's so cool. Like it is so cool to see that. So if you'd like to share your photos, mymakestudio.com, Chef Chayla tab. Then you can upload your pictures and you'll become part of the Bakers Club and get a certificate from me. And if you don't want to share your pictures, it is okay. I'm still happy that you came. But if you would like to share them, that's how you do it. And since we're talking about that, hey, segue time. While you're on our website, mymakestudio.com, you can check out our other cake kits. We have some other Halloween ones like a graveyard, which is a square cake. We have a monster cake. We have monster cupcakes. We have Halloween cupcakes. Or if you're like, okay, what about not Halloween? We have a ton of that. We got a beach, we got a regular unicorn, we've got geode, we have all kinds of stuff on there. So if you need a little bit more sweetness and decoration in your life, go ahead and check out our other options at mymakestudio.com. And then if you would like to follow us, all of our social medias are at mymakestudio. Our Facebook, our Instagram, and our TikTok are all at mymakestudio. Our Facebook and Instagram are good places to follow for new and upcoming things. And also we do pop-up classes all over the place. So maybe we'll be coming to a place near you and you can come decorate with me in person. So those are good places to follow, the Facebook and the Instagram for that. And then our TikTok is more of like, how did I do my hair? Weird makeup. What is my dog doing? Did I make muffins for breakfast today? So that's kind of what that one is. It's more of a dive into like my weird little world. But again, all of our socials, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram are at mymakestudio. And I know I've said it already, but again, thank you guys so much for coming today. I hope that you had fun, and I hope that you enjoy eating your beautifully spooky Halloween magical creations. And as always, everyone, stay creative.